The UN Women Country Representative to Nigeria and ECOWAS, Beatrice Eyong, has emphasized the need to empower women financially. Speaking at an event organized by the Ministry of Women Affairs and UN Women, the Gender Equality and Women Empowerment Coordination Mechanism and Institutional Strengthening, Eyong lamented the lack of funding for women empowerment, which has drastically dropped, posing a huge setback in women initiative programs over the past few years.
Gender equality and women empowerment (GEWE) is focused at sensitizing, mentoring and providing financial support in promoting inclusive leadership for women. Speaking during the GEWE event, Eyong stated that funding is very essential to push advocacy for gender equality and women empowerment, while emphasizing the need to work together as a unit to achieve significant results.
The objectives are to provide a platform for information and data sharing among relevant stakeholders working on gender equality and women's empowerment, to improve and strengthen institutional and technical capacity, deepen conversations, enhance coherence and commitment for gender equality amongst relevant stakeholders toward achieving progress for gender equality and the Sustainable Development Goals. Advocate and campaign for increased international and domestic financing for gender equality and women's empowerment. I wish to say that this point is very, very important. Financing gender equality and women's empowerment has become a little bit problematic. And it is because it's coming from the international context where we are witnessing a backlash, a pushback on gender equality and women's empowerment. And so the funds are reducing and reducing. So one of the things that UN Women, for instance, is interested is seeing how not that money comes to UN Women, but that there is available and sufficient funding for gender equality and women's empowerment at all levels, at the local government level, at the zonal level, at the federal level, at the ministry, everywhere. Because according to the African Development Bank, we need at least about 40 billion US dollars to talk about gender equality in Africa. And we don't have even up to that. We don't even have 1/10.
The Minister of Women Affairs, Honorable Iman Sulaiman Ibrahim, highlighted the need to empower women, adding that mobilization will be carried out to get funds. The minister further stated that empowering women can solve 90% of the nation's problems.
This year, we mark 30 years since the establishment of the Federal and State Ministries of Women Affairs in Nigeria. It is a moment for both celebration and introspection. We must ask, what legacy are we building? How do we shift from program-based to system-based impact? As part of our institutional strengthening efforts, I am pleased to announce the distribution of the ICT equipment to all state ministries of women affairs made possible by the UN Women under the leadership of the Beatrice Eyong. These are not ornamental, they are strategic tools for data-driven programming, M&E, coordination and digital reporting. I urge you to use them effectively and accountably. Collectively, we're going to launch a massive resource mobilization. So we're going to go to the private space and float a funding whereby everybody can donate, and then we can allocate, and then we'll be very, very responsible and accountable. And then posterity will judge us right. When I met Her Excellency, I was so excited to brief her because I'd been able to understand the work that I was asked to do. And I said, I'm doing X, Y, Z. And she said, I should go and put money in women's hands. I tell you, when we put money in women's hands, 90% of our problems in Nigeria would vanish. Yes. When we have money in women's hands, there will be no malnutrition. When we have money in women's hands, children will go to school. Yes. When you put money in women's hands, nobody can beat her. And she'll have more time for her children. So they're well looked after. So we'll stop having baby abuse. When we put money in women's hands, we can be able to thrive as a country economically and politically.
The challenges of low participation of women in politics and low budget for women affairs at different levels of government were also highlighted as advocacy for the special seat bill continues to gain support. The Constitution Alteration Bill to provide special seats for women in the national and state houses of assembly, which has passed the second reading, is expected to promote inclusion of women in legislation. The National Chair of Women Political Participation Group, Barrister Ebere Ifendu, stressed the need for sensitization at the grassroots. Highlights of the event include the distribution of ICT equipment provided by the UN Women to state ministries of women affairs to further promote women empowerment advocacy. Abiola Alafe reporting for Clever News.